Out to film. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, if you have any questions, and if usually at the I'm hoping my voice will last, but usually at the end of a screening when we took the film on the road, we would often have people who would come up and tell me a story about how they related to the film um, in private, So if anybody wanted to reach out to me, feel free to give them my email address. And it was really heartening thing to always experience that at every film festival. And I want to say we did about 80 film festivals with this and multiple screenings at most of those festivals. So it was a fun thing. It was a fun project to make.
Oh, it's a fantastic movie. We really enjoyed it, and I'm sure that we will hear some more about maybe you and your times in Stamford and how you came to develop this film and how autobiographical is it at all?
Yeah, I used to say it wasn't autobiographical because I think producers, I don't know, producers don't always like making autobiographical films, but it's not entirely. But there was the one thing at its core that I wanted to tell. My part of the my own HIV survival guide was uh, making peace with HIV AIDS, like learning how to live with it. And so that was the core, the genesis of the project, and so that's kind of where it started. But, never worked in a club, never did a poetry slam, although I write poetry. I had to kill my favorite poem in Pushing Dead, but I'm gonna bring it back. We have interest in, even though not everyone saw this movie, we have interest in a second one. So, or a continuation of the Dan Schauble Paula story in Detroit. So I'm working about halfway through that script right now.
That's that's so great to hear. And I know puppets were another thing that I recognized in you in this movie.
I enjoy a puppet. Yeah, I yeah, I have almost all of my films somehow like have a doll or a puppet. And then recently I got my writer, director, puppeteer credit, my first puppeteer credit, in a short film called Edvard Takes a Lover. But yeah, I enjoy puppets. I enjoy uh, the yeah, everything that I have, like how until we figure out who a person is, we fall for them, who we want them to be. So we just imagine, or at least I do, I imagine the best that, they're my dream person or whatever. But and I've had some stuffies that I cherish. So
I love
so
that.
yeah, so
So great. So would anybody like to ask a question?
is anybody there that I know? Anybody?
Well, does anybody know Tom? I would like to say that, oh, sorry. When was the film made?
We released it in 2018 in North America. And it was completed in 2016. And it was a Sundance Institute project. So they brought me to the mountains of Utah, and I got to hang out briefly with Robert Redford and then all of the wonderful advisors that they have and they're all like crazy, cool people like Stanley Tucci and Sally Fields and Paul Thomas Anderson. And I met one of my producers, Richard LaGravenese, at the Sundance Labs, and he also played the mugger. I convinced him to come out and play the mugger. He played the mugger for free. I think we got away with that one from SAG. I hope there's no SAG reps in the audience. I hope I didn't come in late. Did you just finish the movie?
No, we just finished. You came in right on time. I had just gotten up to the front of the room. We are in the Ferguson Library Auditorium where we had one of the Stamford AIDS quilt panels up for the month, and it was family centers and the Stanford Cares program. And today we have Deborah Katz, who was just honored at lunchtime today as the 2025 AIDS warrior. For decades has been supporting the LGBTQ community and patients with AIDS. So we're grateful you're here, Deborah. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So your name came up when I did my LGBTQ research of Stanford, and Deborah's did many time as well. So, um,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
nice. It's nice that what World AIDS Day was a day without art originally. To kind of experience the day without all the creatives that we lost. And now it's kind of nice that, people like me get to show our work, 40 years later. Just had my 40th anniversary. And I've of course lost a lot of friends over the years, but because I was living in Stanford and New Haven and not living in New York or San Francisco, I didn't see all of the all of the destruction. So I think that psychologically was kind of helpful for me.
And Tom and I have had a couple of conversations before. I know that your parents went away on vacation and you took the money that you were supposed to spend on food and you found a film camera somewhere
Yeah,
in an ad in the Stanford Advocate, which I'm
an
looking
ad,
forward to find.
yeah, an ad in the paper. It was a video camera, and it was I didn't know how to negotiate. I was only 11 years old or something like that. But they gave us all, they were away for a while, so it was something like $60, $70 or something like that that we could use. And I went to this guy's house and bought this camera that I guess was hanging in, 7-Eleven guarding the store. And it was a terrible camera with a fixed lens, and you just hook it into your VCR. But yeah, I think they were entertained by that. And then my brother and sister shared their food, so I survived.
Other questions? Yes.
Maybe I just didn't understand it, but what exactly did the monkey represent?
The monkey is kind of that storyline is an accelerated storyline of a parallel storyline of Dan, uh, but an accelerated one. So Dan being fearful of his illness and finally over the years getting more comfortable with it. I just wanted to play with a storyline that involved fear and acceptance, but at a much more accelerated pace. Most people uh, don't figure that out, but I thought people were going to think it was kind of heavy-handed, and most people don't realize that that was my intention. But and that's Robin Weigert. I don't know if anybody. I'm sure people know Danny Glover. And then James Roday, my lovely leading man, he was on Psych, and Robin Weigert, who played Paula. She's such a remarkable actor. She was Calamity Jane in Deadwood is where I uh, just saw her. I was watching Deadwood and I thought, oh my God, this woman is amazing. And I called my friend and we had Lily Taylor attached to that part. And I said, if anything happens to Lily, if she can't do it, because there's often conflicts, we had three different casts for this movie. And I said, if anything happens, I'd love to get Robin Weigert to do this part. She's amazing. And my friend Tim, who I was talking to, said, Tom, I'm staying in her guest room right now. So weird. So he handed her the script when Lily wasn't available because she had a TV show.
I had a question about the little girl in the film and if she was
She-
real or not, or just a symbolism of people's fears.
Yeah, she's really whatever you want her to be. I often am asked if she represents death or, but she's kind of just in there to offer a little glimpses of like this could be real or not. So it's up to everyone to decide who she is, and I was feeling like this when we shot our most expensive shot with her in the movie where she takes flight and sprouts wings. That was a Tippett. Tippett is Phil Tippett is this guy who does special effects, and that was our. But I showed up. That was back before we all freak. When we're sick. I told my producers, I said, I'm sick. I don't, can we move it? And they're like, no, you better show up. So I went and pretended I was normal, and we got through the day. But that little moment was definitely the most expensive part of this movie. It's really hard to make movies right now. It's really hard to finance movies. It's kind of a bummer because streaming has turned the industry into something it's indies are going to start disappearing because they're only selling for, $40,000 or something like that when someone picks them up, as opposed to, in the old days, you take a movie to Sundance and maybe you sell it for a couple million or a few million or 10 million. And those days are kind of gone just because the streamers don't have to pay very much. So we're trying to figure out if you ever invest in a movie, you have to invest in it just for the art and don't expect a return. So we're right now, I recently moved to Detroit and we are trying to find a group of people to finance. We've got two films coming up. One is the smaller budget follow-up to this. And you won't have to like there's no reason to see Pushing Dead. It'll be a full story with an arc. And then we have an unhinged lesbian cop movie starring Margaret Cho as the unhinged lesbian cop, and a really nice cast attached to that one as well. And that's a very fun one, but that one, some of the money dropped out because it was a little too political. Political movies are really hard to finance right now.
So it's interesting because your lead character was actually in a show called A Million Little Things.
Yes, yes.
In that character, you know, he has so many similar mannerisms. He's a smart aleck guy. He's very engaging. As things continue, you get drawn to him. So it was interesting to see him playing this role. I was interested, that it centers around whether he's going to be able to get this medication, and what's happening because he can't pay for it. So it creates a level of anxiety through it. The movie, you're constantly having the back of your mind, but is he going to be able to get his hands on this medication? And you're very worried about that. So it's interesting because it gets billed sort of as a comedy, and obviously there's comedic parts to it, but there's also this sort of serious drama that threads through it all. Just wondering if that's what your intention was, or
Yeah, it's really that story was intended to be kind of that is what people take away from this as the main story. But that was really kind of a little bit of a distraction to get this character where he needed to be with getting comfortable with his virus. And but it's interesting. Did anybody detect the caseworker? As usually that gets like a big audible like, oh.
a great smile.
Yeah. And then usually, like with the bit larger audiences, they don't even care how he got his meds. As soon as he gets his meds, if it's a full house, they usually applaud. And I'm like, wait, let's tell you how he got them.
Yes, got another one. Hold on a second, Tom.
Oh, nice.
Hi. I was curious, not much of a question, just if you could discuss the technology in the movie. It seems like not just him, he doesn't have his phone. Mentions that, but about 20 minutes in or whenever, I was like, when does this take place? Because there's a typewriter, there's an old TV, it's a VCR, the computer's at the pharmacy, there's no cell phones, no internet, and then at some point they said it's they gave the year 2015. So, yeah, could you talk about
Yeah.
that?
My intention was that this guy is a bit stuck in time from the time he's not at that place where he's comfortable with his status, and so he's a bit stuck in time. And then that was the first idea was that we're not going to see a lot of technology. It's going to be a bit timeless in its look. But then also just analog and typewriters and all that stuff is so much more filmic. There's such a beautiful thing to like I collect old things uh and then also this guy being kind of down on his luck and not having a phone, I figured I could get away with that. And then of course the little autobiographical stuff that is in there when I was uh when I was moved to San Francisco about 30 years ago, I was a subscriber to Paz Magazine, which was like the people magazine for positive people. And they've been nice to me over the years and they wrote a couple of articles and stuff like that. But they had a bit of a uh an issue that people were not very happy with. They sold the names of all of their subscribers to viatical companies that were trying to buy our health insurance policies. So even though that one really wasn't fitting, that people don't really do that much anymore. They will if you have a chronic illness but usually you have to approach them. But they were cold calling people who they assumed were positive and offering them money for their life insurance policies. And it was not a fun call to get. So I just really wanted to have that in the film. But Pause Magazine also did a lot of good, so I don't want to, I'm not slamming them. I just think it was an unfortunate choice. But yeah, the technology is something that yeah, I just don't think it looks really pretty too. You look at a computer screen on film.
Um,
The the percussion and the music was very interesting too. I really liked um, how you did all that. Are you a musical person, or who helped you with that?
No, the our composer is this wonderful guy, and Mark Deliantoni, and he's a part of a band. I'm not going to remember the name. Soul Coughing,
Mm.
and they, my cousin and his and her son were supposed to be there tonight, and I said, "Oh, I'm sick. I'm not going to be there." So they were going to come in from Brooklyn, but it
oh,
was his favorite band when he was growing up or when he was in junior high. He's an amazing, amazing composer. He's done a lot of Herzog's movies, and yeah, he's very prolific, and he's just all about art. And so he kind of lived with us in this production office that we had in San Francisco. Did the overnights and he would just come up with, he did deliver like at the last minute. We mixed it at Skywalker and we got, I think, the last song on the last day. And I was like, well, I hope I like it because I don't have any other options, but I really love and everything that he did. And then with scoring, he started scoring this new project that I'm working on, that I'm writing. That's the continuation of Dan Schauble and Paula. And I told him, I gave him a few scenes and he actually started scoring it while I've been writing. And it's like the best thing ever. It's like what Christmas was to me as a kid when I get music to a script that I'm working on and I can listen to the music and just everything's so vivid. But yeah, he brought back that little kid voice that is my favorite piece of the music throughout where you hear that little gibberish from the child. He brought that back in a different way, but it is a nice little callback to the first film.
Awesome. Go another one.
This this film was released in 2016, right? Your initial theatrical release.
2018, we did take it to a lot of festivals. So by the time it was distributed in the US, it was 2018.
All right. For some reason on the web, it gives you a 2016 release date.
Oh, really? Well, you know what is interesting is in 2017, it actually premiered in Germany because we sold it to I didn't, this wasn't my plan. It makes it look like a German film if you look at IMDb. But yeah, it was released in Germany, and I guess it did pretty well there. And
So
uh,
next year, it is getting close to about 10 years since you've released it wherever initially. What has been the trajectory of the response? Some films, they get a big response and then it tails off and sort of disappears. Some films, it's the opposite. It takes 5 or 10 years for people to, oh, we should pay attention. So how's the response been over time?
it's we we get we most people enjoy it for I mean I wanted it to have like I have I'm not I'm not being quite myself tonight since I'm feverish. But uh it has a distinct flavor. So I knew that not everybody was going to love it, but the people that do love it really love it. And so it has built a bigger following over the years, and people are still discovering it here and there. And it's still kind of finding new audiences internationally. And so, and then the nice thing about it too, with trying to raise money for the next film, I can just show them this and say, here, because so often people sell projects based on um, the term is escaping me, but a proof of concept. They shoot a little bit of it, but now, I can send it out to people who have financing and say, if you like it, it's going to be more of this, and it's going to be intimate and maybe a little funnier, and so but yeah, it's gotten a very, very warm response. There was, I think it's probably my fault when we premiered in LA. I was joking around too much at the Q&A, and I think people thought I was a jerk. And so we got like a not so great variety review, but almost always we get very positive reviews, and people have enjoyed it.
That's
I have
great.
to learn to control myself because I have a really hard time editing myself when I'm talking like this.
Well, we know you're not feeling well. I can hear your voice. I can't thank you enough for making the time. And oh, we have one more question.
Oh, cool.
Where's the title come from?
It's like pushing 40, pushing 30, pushing 50, pushing dead. But I also felt like it was hard to peg what it is. There was some mystery in that. And nobody tried to talk me out of it, so I kept it.
Well, anybody else? We can't thank you enough. I'm very excited about the sequel and wondering what time frame that's going to be in, and wondering if we could get you to try to come back to Stamford after that one.
Oh yeah,
Sometime. Yeah.
I would love to, and I hope not to be in a hotel talking to the crowd. But yeah, we don't really know. It's all reliant on financing. We have a small amount of financing on these two projects. American Dog was ready to go. That's the one with Margaret Cho. And it also has Joel McHale and Dule Hill and James Roday Rodriguez again and Robin Weigert again. And who else is in it? Somebody else who's Angelica Ross. Um, and so it was kind of ready to go, but then because of like that it is a little more political, the financing dropped out because they were worried about distribution.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know when, but I'm hoping we always just keep trudging and trying to find financing, and then it can happen pretty quickly. But we're hoping to shoot both of those in Detroit because Detroit is such a beautiful city. I don't know if anybody's been to Detroit, but I went there for the first time uh, last year and was able to put an offer in on a house because I just fell in love with the city after one day. And there's such a nice art scene there, and the houses are just beautiful, and it has a very Pushing Dead kind of vibe because in San Francisco, it really doesn't have that vibe anymore that you see in the movie. It didn't at the time that we shot it because everything's kind of precious now. Everything has a fresh coat of paint on it. Everything has, new trees, and I like a little patina. I like old stuff that shows some age. You know. So Detroit is just a beautifully filmic city, and I'm really excited to shoot something there. They don't have incentives, and all producers kind of want you to shoot somewhere that have incentives, but we'll see what happens.
Well, thank you so much. What a great way to celebrate World AIDS Day and continued health and improved health for this film that you've got. And thank you again. And thank you all for being here with us. And thank you, Brian, for making all the technology happen, and the Ferguson for hosting.
Thank you so much, everybody.
All right. Take care, Tom. Good night.
Okay, bye-bye.